Las declaraciones del principal portavoz militar de Israel sobre la viabilidad de la ofensiva contra Hamas provocan un fuerte cruce con Benjamín Netanyahu, primer ministro del país. El contraalmirante Daniel Hagari dijo en una entrevista con el canal 13 de Israel que no se puede hacer desaparecer al grupo extremista, poniendo en duda que se pueda alcanzar el objetivo bélico del gobierno de derrotar directamente a Hamas. Esta afirmación provocó una dura reprimenda de Benjamín Netanyahu y una tajante respuesta de su oficina. El primer ministro dijo que el Gabinete de Seguridad de Israel definió la destrucción de las capacidades militares y de gobierno de Hamas como uno de los objetivos de su guerra en Gaza y que las fuerzas de defensa de Israel están comprometidas con este objetivo. Las FDI intentaron más tarde aclarar y suavizar las declaraciones de Hagari tras las grietas expuestas entre el gobierno y los militares.
All right, now it's the Middle East, where fears are growing that the fighting in Gaza may not be Israel's only major concern. U.S. officials tell CNN they're worried Israel's Iron Dome air defense system could be overwhelmed in a full-scale war with Hezbollah. Attacks from the Lebanese militant group, backed by Iran, have been on the rise in recent weeks, and the IDF has responded with airstrikes. U.S. officials say Israel's plans to shift resources from Gaza to the north and a land and air incursion into Lebanon is increasingly likely. All right, I want to bring in CNN's Nada Bashir, who's following developments from London. So, Nada, explain what's behind these fears that Israel's air defense system could be overwhelmed.
Well, look, Kim, this is a very different situation to what we're seeing in Gaza. We've heard in the past from Israeli officials saying that they can, quote, copy and paste what is taking place in Gaza in Lebanon if Hezbollah continues to target Israeli territory. But of course, important to remember that the UN and many international partners consider Israel to be an occupying force in the war in Gaza. Gaza is a small strip of land. It has been under a blockade for nearly 20 years. Lebanon is a sovereign nation, and while the confrontations that we've been seeing over the last few months have been directly between the Iran-backed Hezbollah group in the south of Lebanon and the Israeli military, we've heard from the Lebanese government in the past saying that they will not stand idly by if Israel threatens to push the Lebanese state into an all-out war. And then, of course, important to remember that Hamas and Hezbollah are not the same. Hezbollah is politically and militarily far more sophisticated. It has a far more powerful and much larger military arsenal than Hamas. We're talking about drones and short-range rockets, which we've seen used across the border over the last few months, but also, of course, longer-range missiles that could target deeper into Israeli territory. And the fear amongst many in the international community, including the United States, is that Israel would not necessarily be prepared for that sort of military arsenal. You heard the warnings there from military officials in the US, US officials rather, saying that Israel's Iron Dome air defense system could be overwhelmed. And we've heard from the State Department now pushing for a cessation of these violent tensions that we're seeing. Take a listen.
The best way to unlock the possibility of a resolution along the Israel-Lebanese border would be achieving a ceasefire in Gaza. And we continue to actively pursue a ceasefire in Gaza, primarily to alleviate the suffering of the Palestinian people in Gaza and to secure the return of hostages. But a very important side effect we assess would be making it much easier to achieve a ceasefire and diplomatic resolution along the Israel-Lebanon border.
In Gaza, as bringing peace to the situation in the border between Lebanon and Israel has been something that Hezbollah has noted repeatedly now over the course of this 8 months of the war in Gaza. Hezbollah has continuously characterized its actions along the border as being in direct response to Israel's continued attacks on the Gaza Strip. Hezbollah officials have said that they do not want to see an all-out war between the group and Israel, not least between Lebanon and Israel overall, but that they would continue to target Israeli territory so long as Israel continues to target the Gaza Strip. The Israeli military, meanwhile, says it believes it has infinitely more capable weapons and arsenal than Hezbollah, and that it has several forces now engaged with the Iran-backed group in Lebanon.
Now, Nada, with the need for aid in Gaza desperate as always, the U.S.-built pier now operational again. What's the latest there?
Well, that's right. It was temporarily taken out of operation over fears around potential damage because of high seas in the region. We have seen, of course, the pier being taken out of operation on multiple occasions now, but U.S. officials, the U.S. Central Command, have confirmed that it is back in operation. We saw an aid delivery on Thursday. According to the Central Command, the highest daily number of aid coming into the Gaza Strip was recorded on Thursday. So, of course, this is providing some much needed respite. But the message we continue to hear from aid organizations is that there needs to be a continued focus on these land crossings into Gaza as the most effective way of getting aid in. At this stage, we are still, according to aid organizations, seeing obstructions and delays at these land crossings with not enough aid as needed getting into the Gaza Strip. And of course, US officials have repeatedly reiterated that this pier is a temporary measure. It's unclear when it will be officially taken out of operation. But again, so much more needed for the people of Gaza.
Yeah, absolutely right. Nana Bashir in London. Thanks so much.